Good morning. My name is Reggie Bray, Operations Section Chief for Pacific Northwest Team 2, and this is the operational update for Wednesday, August 25th. I'll start with a little bit of intel about our current situation and kind of what occurred yesterday and overnight. We were able to get a infrared flight last night that mapped the fire, and it's gained about 4,000 acres. Most of that is just some of these interior pockets just burning together and cleaning up. There was a bit of a fire push here in the wilderness in Hindu Creek as well yesterday that added to that acreage. Some of this closed in up here. Yesterday, successful crews were able to continue to work and work on indirect lines. Still doing structure prep and structure triage assessments. We also use a lot of aviation here in Little Rattlesnake, helicopters, and some fire bosses, that scoopers as we call them, that scoop off the lake and drop water. So we use them in here, just keeping this in check while crews were working up here on Bethel Ridge. Plans for today. We're going to continue with our strategy to protect these values here along the Highway 12 corridor and the 410 corridor, and all the homes and structures, infrastructure all along the highway corridors around Rimrock Lake, all the private in-holdings, and so we're continuing to work on that. That's where we want to focus our efforts on. We'll start up here in Branch 1, Division Alpha, the Bumping River Road. Work was concluded yesterday on the indirect line here along Bumping River, along the 18 road here just to the east of the lake. That was being accomplished with heavy equipment. That has been completed. We started to move those resources out and around in other places of the fire where there was higher priority. We also continued to work in the fire that's come across the river in Cougar Flat Campground, just north of Goose Prairie. Crews continue just to secure and mop up, hold the perimeter, make sure that stays in place. It was a little bit more active yesterday, and so anticipate some of that as well. A lot of this northern flank here that continues just to back down the slope showed a little bit more heat in there yesterday, but we continue just to watch and monitor that. Up here on the north end of the fire, Bumping River along the Natchez River, we're able to get resources to continue to look at opportunities to tie some roads like the Old River Road and piece that together around and behind the structures, going around the old camp and Boulder Cave, and just continue to look at that, come up with options, and make a good plan to secure that. Moving down into Foxtrot near Cliffdale, Gold Creek, they continue to tie this Lost Creek Road in. Really have a good plan with that, protecting those structures, moving equipment in there, water handling supplies and things like that, just starting to get that ready to be protected, getting a good plan for that. They did continue to look at the dozer and hand line coming off of the 258 road up top from the 1600, the Clover Springs Road. Looking at continuing to improve that. They're going to put hose and pumps in there, a plummet as we refer to it, and strengthen that and make sure that's ready in case in anticipation of potentially having to bring fire down off of that ridge if the fire in Lost Creek up here in the head of Lost Creek continues to move down the slope. They continue to watch this. It rolled out a little bit more. It's just backing its way down the hill. It's visible from the 410 highway, visible here from Cliffdale, but we do have resources up there looking at it, making sure that it stays where we want it to. And then we have some management action points to established. If it moves so far down, then it will trigger some other activities for us to secure these homes along the 410 corridor along the Natchez River. Continuing down to Division Hotel and down toward the community of Nile. On the Clover Springs Road, the 1600 road, crews continue just to monitor, prep, mop up, and patrol. And they're looking at this. There's a little bit of unburned in here, so they're watching that pretty closely. No really threat to the line, but it continues to want to burn together, so they're just keeping an eye on that. As we move around here just to the west of Nile, the toe of the slope where they picked the fire up last week, down to Bethel Ridge Road, that looks really good. We're starting to pull some water handling equipment, pumps, hose, things like that, out of that area, out of those areas, and start to put them in places that we really need it. Kind of prioritizing equipment, just like we have been just firefighting resources. So as we move here to the southeast of the fire, crews continued to strengthen this road and Bethel Ridge in anticipation of burnout operations. We are anticipating possibly some firing actions going on up there today. We're just waiting for the right weather, kind of seeing what the fire movement does, but for sure within the next 24 hours we're going to be implementing that. And so we'll begin to strategically fire this ridge almost in blocks, in segments, and we'll kind of compartmentalize it and move in a coordinated effort across the top of the ridge. While we're doing that, continuing to prep down the Bethel Ridge into the old Jeep Trail toward the 324 road, and then again on out to the 199. We did secure a little bit out here on the trail that had slopped over the trail last night with the night resources, and the intent is to keep fire from moving south of there if we can. While we're doing that, crews continue to build indirect line down the 1500 road system to the 14 road, over to Wildcat, and then down into Indian Creek, securing all these, keeping, in case fire moves south of the 199 into the wilderness, we can bring fire down and keep fire north of the Highway 12 corridor, Rimrock Lake. That concludes the operational update. Thanks.